Welcome to my channel. I really appreciate you. Um, we are talking about marriage, and apologies for the sudden um, stop, or let me just say that, the abrupt ending of part one. So it is better to just continue as part two so that we have a flow. This is part two of the video recording, but more importantly, please remember to click the like button, remember to press the notification button, remember to share this video clip and the others that will follow. Now, let me just go straight ahead. If again it goes off suddenly, I will go to part three no matter where it stops, because we need to maintain the flow. In part one, I have already discussed some of the preliminaries. I was just going, what I'm still discussing as part of the preliminary, but I'm now, tracing the stage of marriage, or the level that marriage is in in human life. I did say that I was trying to trace it before the thing went off suddenly because of interruptions on the internet or something. So, very sorry about that. So, um, life could takes particular takes a particular course. One, you are born, you go to school, then you fetch a job, or you're a business person, or you just looking for how to be on your own, to be financially independent, that is through career. And then the next thing that ordinarily should follow is marriage. That is, you get married and then you become parents, and then from there you're considering creating wealth, and then weathering the storms of life together, raising your children and all that. And at the same time, retirement is knocking. After that, death follows. So let's look at marriage now. Marriage is about, I think, birth, school, career. Marriage is number 4. But as I did say, life has stages, but not everybody's life follows that pattern. For instance, education is supposed to be number 1. You're supposed to be educated to a tertiary level and so on and so forth. But many people combine both marriage as well as education together, or even parenting, everything put together. Somebody like us, they didn't follow that pattern. So, but ordinarily, if you want to live an organized life and you are fortunate that everything about your life is ideal, your marriage is supposed to take the 4th position. Then what are the things responsible for things not following normal procedure? We've had cases of girls being impregnated, that is, all these infatuations and some, leading some girls who are supposed to be in secondary school getting pregnant, and whether they like it or not, they have already knocked the door of marriage, even though they are not formally married. So life becomes a different thing to them. And sometimes the men responsible will take or let the children and abandon the lady, and then and so on and so forth. So it's a problem which should be avoided by a wise person, especially the girls. Let me also tell you, men, yes, it's a sin to do that. To impregnate a woman and not marry her is a sin. It's morally wrong. Everything about it is wrong. But the infatuation of a man will make a woman a girl to fall victim, because the pressure from the man will easily lure her into sexual relation. That's why churches are always preaching, don't do this, don't do that. Mosques are also, even our fathers and parents, they warn us seriously. But sometimes there are exceptions. A lot of people will take to it, but there are exceptions. The exceptions are always unfortunate. And once that one comes to your life, you have to, it will take the grace of God for you to recover, especially as a girl. A boy can impregnate all the women in this world and yet continues with his education and never to marry one of them. Like I said, it is bad, but it does happen. Men do it. What do you now say? It is for you to, it's for girls to protect their life, to ensure that their lives are not damaged. Then also, it's not always the fault of the man alone. Some girls are lazy. They don't want to go to school. Parents are sending them to school, but they don't have a heart for learning. And they are looking for easy way out. They want to quickly get pregnant for somebody so that they can go and hibernate in his room. But we always discover that at the end of the day, it leads to disappointment, because a woman that cannot support a man is not fit to be a wife. And also, the temptation, sexual temptation, is a universal thing between man and woman. That is why, even in the animal kingdom, you see a small goat, he goat, trying to climb the mother to mate with the mother. So it is in men. Men are easily tempted because the power of sex in them is emotion. It's a serious emotion that some of them lose their senses. Then the girls too, though their own is slow by research, I found out that women are not easily moved towards sex. It is men that arouse their sexual instincts or something. They are not like men who can gallivant around easily. So they are more comported, they are more composed, they are more disciplined. But there are also exceptions. There are some girls who will be the ones to tempt the men for one reason or the other. Maybe to them is handsome, or to them is they how they think one thing or the other, which may be wrong, right or wrong, but they lure the men into impregnating them. So all these things, they do happen in reality. Like I said, the only way to make your marriage meaningful is, one, you have to be disciplined. Disciplined. If you, discipline itself, well, we Christians will say, okay, the best approach is to fear the Lord. I observe in my life, I'm not an angel. Even in matter of all this sexual, whatever, marital relationship, no man is an, even if you say you're an angel, Jesus says that if a man looks at a woman lustfully, he has committed fornication, or if he's a married man, adultery. So where is my boasting? I may not have mated with any girl before I got married, yet I'm not exempted from the sexual sin. Because how many, how many times have I looked at women lustfully when I was young, even when I was older? It's only now that The attraction may not be particularly there because you have seen it all, and then nothing is new. So discipline is important. And to me, what helped me is that the fact that I attached myself to God, going to church, we were taught so many things about premarital relationships, particularly sex. I remember in those days, even men and women don't sit together in churches. It's part of the discipline, so that your mind will be where you are. Then look at our young girls and boys in the choir. You'll see the atrocities coming out there, even in the church, in spite of the word of God they are hearing. But to me, honestly speaking, if you ask me, the most important thing to really cling to, I don't bother about your talent to sing, to do everything. Most choir members are empty as far as the word of God is concerned. They don't listen to the word that can benefit their life. They can sing, they do everything well in the church. Don't be carried away. They are spiritually empty, because what we are expected to obey is not the songs, it is the word. What should not depart from our mouth, what we should meditate upon day and night, Joshua 1:8, is the word of God. The knowledge we are supposed to seek is the knowledge of God, Hosea 4:6. Check your Quran if you know the equivalent there. But if you attach yourself to God, there are so many things that will not be easy for you to do. But if when they are preaching, your ears are not there, your heart is not there, your mind is not there, any church you go to, just observe the choir side. You will discover that immediately they stop singing their songs, they doze off. Some will even be going out up and down and so on and so forth. So, if you attach yourself to God and attach yourself to the Word of God, reading the Bible, studying it, and make it a duty, it will help you. Not that it will surely help you if you want to endeavor to do what is inside, because the Bible has made it clear that, sorry, there is no premarital sex. That's why churches made rules, though sometimes they go too far to the point that even it leads to men making mistakes. Because honestly speaking, if you follow some of the rules of the church, you that want to marry, you will not know much about the girl you want to marry or the man you want to marry, because of this seclusion thing. But again, it's a problem. How do you move close to one another that you will not be tempted to have sex? So it's a problem. That's why I say discipline. Social distancing. Maintain adequate social distancing. But you need to know yourself, to understand yourself. You need to talk together. You need to relate together as much as possible. The only solution to that is, don't be tempted to go into hideouts to chat. If you can do public, do your talks in the open, fine. But God will help everybody who is still in that stage. So, marriage is something that you need also to pray very well about. You need to pray very well about. Number 3, marriage is not something you take with a religious eye. What do I mean by that? Because in our churches, we say you must marry from the church. You must marry from the church. Yes, the belief is this: if you marry from the church, it is taken that you are marrying a virtuous woman or a righteous man. But unfortunately, in practice, some of the girls there or some of the boys there, they are not different from the girls in the world. You understand what I mean? They are just there in the church physically. The word of God that there is guiding them is not in them. They are of the church, but not, okay, they are in the church, but not of God. Let me put it that way. So they can be easily tempted. And two, compatibility is the key thing. Even that is why, if you check what the Bible says a partner fit for him, a helper fit for him. Fit, that fit, what fit means there is an appropriate girl for an appropriate man. You don't just, there are a lot of women outside and they are all God made. There are a lot of men outside. There is God that made them. Everything that God made is good, completely good. You can't fault them. But not every man or every girl is fit for particular men. So you need to find somebody who is fit for you. That is what is called compatibility test. You need to. And under this one, there are a lot of factors that you need to take into consideration. If you don't take them into consideration, you may end up being in trouble in your marriage later in life. Well, what are some of these things? In our book, this thing called marriage, we listed quite a lot, but nobody can exhaust it because a man's preference is not the same with another man's preference. A girl's preference is not the same thing with another girl's preference. So when we are talking of preference, we are talking of compatibility. Sorry, the background may be a bit dark. I think this pattern. So when we are talking of preference, we are talking of compatibility. For instance, let's take a look at a few of them. It starts from simple to complex matters. For instance, what is it that you want as a man? What do you want in a woman? As a girl, what do you want in a man? What are those things that will make you to be able to live acceptably, comfortably, in peace with a man? For instance, I said from simple to complex. Some men will prefer tall girls, the other way around also for women. Some will prefer slim girls. Some will prefer fat girls. Some will prefer not too fat, not too slim. Some will prefer that the girl is fair in complexion or ebony black, very dark. Some will prefer soft-spoken women. All these things, please, as I'm saying to men, refer them to the women, to you women. You know what you want. Some will prefer a girl that has the nature of an extrovert who relates, cheerful, smiley, all the time, bubbling with life. Some will prefer the ones that are easygoing, calculated, and all that. All these are simple matters. Some will prefer a girl that by their judgment, if you go to church, you know God. Yes, okay. Still, it's a good way to at least to an indication to say that somebody may be godly if he goes to church or he goes to mosque or she goes, or I mean, vice versa. So some may take religious into consideration, may take wealth into consideration. Some, like I said earlier, some men are after girls that are wealthy and so on. I don't want to make the video too long. I would be rounding off this part within the next 5 minutes. I'll just make it a 25 minutes so that you can easily work because of your data thing. So some will prefer girls that or boys that are outspoken, manly, or can I now say the other way around, womanly, stout, bold, fast, or slow, or sluggish, K-leg, bow leg. All those ones, they are minor factors. But the bigger factors is the character. The character of a man or the character of a woman goes a long way to sustain relationship. If your character is compatible, your marriage is likely to succeed. It's not a matter of how much you can pray. It's not a matter of how much you can fast. It's not a matter of religion now. It's a matter of character, who you are. Who I am. What I need in a woman, I have to define. What a girl needs in a man, she has to clearly define. If not, issues might arise later because of the fact that, sorry, I have to improvise with another light to see if you can see my face very well, but if you can't, kindly listen to the voice because all the lighting things we have here, they are God will help us in Nigeria. It's a country where you have firewood, you have matches, you have candle, you have kerosene, you have gas, you have solar source of power, then you have generator, then you have NEPA, and yet all of them, one way or the other, might fail you. As I speak to you now, all those sources, I mean, the light we have been using since is solar. The NEPA has come and gone. And so this is also, this one that I'm just managing now again is solar. So we're all Nigerians. God will help us. But that will not prevent me from doing what I want to do. I'll do all I can. Once I'm set to do something, I don't like giving excuses. So if it goes dark, just listen to my voice. Take the audio. So as I said, you must know what you're looking for in a man or in a woman, because that is what will stand you well. Some prefer educated person. For instance, compatibility in education. If your wife is a school cert holder, you're a degree holder, you know that, of course, your reasoning will not be the same at a point. If you like a light complexioned girl or man, and you now end up marrying the opposite, you may still be tempted to be liking what you like, and then that can lead you to some other things. If you also put wealth as your own factor, and the guy you marry or the man you marry is not wealthy, you may be tempted to have extra luggage that will fulfill that portion of your desire. So, but above all, know what you want. If you don't know what you want, and then another danger, you've not even started dating, marriage takes some processes too. It starts with ordinary friendship. It's just you meet yourself, you greet yourself, your friends you are seeing every day, and then later you are dating, you are becoming closer and closer. You want to know a bit more about yourselves. And then later you go into courtship. After succeeding in that one, you move to courtship. Courtship is where you now can frankly know the details about the background of your would-be partner. You want to know about the parents, you want to know about career, you want to know about education, you want to know about her ways of life, you want to know about her beliefs, you want to know about, many, many things. This time around, you ask questions. Yeah, and this is where you really get talking. That is why this is all these things, all this level at all these levels, honestly speaking, if you do unnecessary social distancing, which many of our churches advocate, you may end up in the wrong hands. The only thing you need to be cautious about is don't be carried away into going into sexual. The only thing that should be excluded, you should be as close as possible, as close to the families as possible, as close to the relatives as possible, but let there be no sex. Now, I told you I don't want to be religious. You may like me for this, you may hate me for it. No religious ones will hate me for it. But again, it's not because they hate me. It is because they are considering the word of God. That's because abstinence from sex is the solution to not falling into wrong hands. Because once you have had sex, the deed is done, the deal is sealed. Every other thing is rubber stamping. And this sex thing we are talking about, it is, of course, naked sex. When I say naked sex, unprotected sex. You are not supposed to have sex at all. I don't recommend it. Bible does not recommend it. It is not good for you because once a man explores your sexual life, you are no longer a jewel of value, because the man who does that to you would have done it to others. So he's a joker. But again, that is God's standard, which we all ought to follow. But again, there are exceptions sometimes. What is the exception? Protect yourself. Girls, protect yourself. If you allow a man to go into you unprotected, you are taking the greatest risk of your life. By whatever means, if you are tempted, because odunso is easy to say, don't do this, don't do that, but I won't be there when you are tempted. Only God can see you and the man. But if you take precautionary measures in the face of temptation, that's why I say some pastors will say, what is this man preaching? I'm teaching practical now. I'm not teaching because whether we like it or not, it's not everybody that will follow that rule. Our level of our strength differ. But again, there must be a way out of every challenge. If you don't protect yourself, there was a young girl, a lady, she had a baby girl. And the girl just going to about 12 years. No, she's about 10 or so. And then, I was this child, we were just talking, and I said, no, well, me, as far as I'm concerned, I know what life is. As soon as my child begins to menstruate, I will protect her. That's a wise girl. Because the implications are serious on the girl, on the mother, on everybody. I will protect her. She said, I will even do family planning for her. I say, I hope, but again, everything has its own side effects. If you must be tempted, one thing you should always remember is this man who wants to go into you can abandon you and leave you to your fate. And it's fatal for you. And you may recover, you may not recover. Even if you recover, there will still be the scars. You become item of second-hand value. And that trauma can live with you for the rest of your life. So I won't say more than that, protect yourself from you. With ordinary condom to any other thing you can use to protect yourself. Please do protect yourself.